I will come back and converse with you at a much later stage, Exhibit J again, especially when it pertains to the identification of accused number 2, Mr. Ntanzi. Because from what I've read here, all of the people that were in the house when they met Miss Amanda Steenkamp for the compilation of this report, they all stated to her that they could not identify the second suspect. And you can confirm that from what I've read from Exhibit J. Is that correct?
Yes, I can confirm what is written in Exhibit J, but Exhibit J, my lord, is the notes made by Warrant Officer Steenkamp. Yes. So to make the right context, one needs also to look at the statements made by the people who were inside the house, because they do give a description. Even if it's not accurate, they do, to the best of their ability, describe the first suspect and the second suspect. But I agree insofar as Exhibit J, but that does, it's basically an extract of what Warrant Officer Steenkamp was doing, but there are statements of the people who were in the house insofar as the description of the suspects.
And just for clarification purposes, still on Exhibit J, the witnesses T. Makeleni and the ones P. were, although it's incorrectly spelled, these were people that were not in the house at the Khumalo household on the 26th of October 2014. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Let's come to this aspect where you say, it's paragraph 3, investigations revealed that the cell phone which was robbed was picked up through cell phone towers until the signal was lost, covering the area of Phosphorus Hostel.
Yes, my lord.
At that time, you deposed to this affidavit A225.
Yes.
Were you also in possession of the cell phone records, both of the people that were in the house and some of the people that are suspects or now accused in this matter?
Yes, I had the cell phone record. That's correct, my lord. But I was also guided by the cell phone analyst at that time, because Kenneth Stein was already on board and he had already disposed affidavits. And I do recall that I also made a site visit of where this Muleleki Tower is situated.
Okay. Now you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, according to your information, Muleleki Tower services, you say a hostel in Phosphorus. Which hostel are we referring to?
My lord, I was referring to Basutino Hostel, and as I said again, my lord, these expertise were based on the knowledge or the expect information that was given to me by Kenneth Stein. But like I said, also the site visit for myself to see where exactly this tower. It is not far from the hostel, meaning now the scene where the alleged meeting took place before the killing of the deceased and after. It's just across the road, between Phosphorus and when you go towards Katlo home. So that's the explanation that it gave to me to say this tower can cover that hostel in terms of the distance. But it was not to say, my lord, on that specific day, the assertion that I'm making is not to say that on that specific day, this tower, when the signal was sent, it was active and covering that, but it was say the range. That's the explanation Kenneth Stein told me, that the distance could cover the hostel. That was my understanding.
Brigadier, to be fair to you, and I requested time on Monday to go and revisit all of the evidence that has been covered thus far. And I don't want to put a wrong proposition to you. So this aspect of you saying Muleleki Tower covers the range of the Basutini hostel, I've got a different understanding, but I want to verify that from Ms. Vitilingam's evidence before I put it as a proposition to you. So I'll also mark it as one of the aspects that I will pack.
Yes, it is fine, my lord, but the context that I'm saying, and I want to repeat, my lord, is said the distance where the tower was and where the Basutino hostel, and that's my recollection of the explanation by Kenneth Stein, could cover that hostel in terms of the distance. What it did not say to me is that on that specific day, that tower was active. All he told me is that this is a tower that picked up the cell phone Muleleki section, and I wanted to know where is this tower in relation to where the meeting took place. And obviously my next question is that could it cover this place in terms of distance? And the answer was yes.
Then you also mentioned that the investigation which resulted in evidence under oath revealed that the victim was murdered as a contractual assassination or hit rather than a robbery or robbery gone wrong. Can you elaborate on that, and what statements and evidence did you rely on to come to make such an assertion?
Yes, my lord. I think one statement that comes from the top of my mind is the one of Kwabendi, Sifiso Zungu. It guided me to that effect because he places the 5 accused, and I think it talks to that issue of contractual killing. There are other statements, my lord, which may be involving not collectively but some of the accused. Individual, for example, accused 3 and 4, where almost similar assertions are made. So there are different statements in the docket, and I can be specific, my lord, if that is needed. But one of them, like I said, it's Sifiso Zungu.
Okay, sorry, Brigadier, just to come back to Exhibit J, just one point. I forgot to ask you, this, the 5th witness to Ms. Tienkamp's ID kit compilation, Mr. T. Makeleni.
Yes.
What is his status? Is he still alive or is he a deceased person?
No, he's a deceased person, my lord, currently. We also obtained, I think, his death certificate. He passed on, unfortunately, before this trial commenced.
And then further you say, evidence under oath revealed that 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution of the contractual murder of Senzo Meyiwa at the directive of Kelly Khumalo. Currently we have, before standing and sitting before this court, 5 accused persons, and in the statement it says 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution. Who is the 6th suspect?
It's Ms. Kelly Khumalo, my lord. Remember this statement, I was applying for the warrant of arrest for Ms. Kelly Khumalo, so she would have been the 6th suspect. This one, at that time, we already arranged. They'd already made their first appearance, so this was November. So I was now moving towards Ms. Kelly Khumalo to be added, so she was the 6th suspect.
And on page, the next page, or at the top, you say this suspect, Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo in brackets, is first linked by means of confessions that were made by both accused 1 and 2. Let me pause it here. On this aspect, further down in my cross-examination, I'm going to touch specifically on the confession statements, exhibits HH and JJ, allegedly made by accused number 2. So this point I'll pack it now and then move it forward. It says, investigations further revealed that she had 4 other cell phones that she did not disclose to the police when the incident took place, and then the numbers are the ones that I mentioned. Now, what was the relevance of saying she had these other 4 cell phones that she did not reveal? The significance thereof for you to put it in this statement?
Indeed. No, so the relevance of it, my lord, one will recall that if one reads the exhibits, the confessions made by accused 1 and 2, somewhere in the confessions there is appearances where it is alleged that accused 3 was communicating with, sometimes they call her sisters and so forth. It's what is alleged there, my lord. And this sisters is being referred as Kelly Khumalo. Now, when one took the cell phone records, that the section 205 that were done on the 2 numbers that were known at the time, this is now the runaway phone that picked up the tower from the Leki section, and the 082 number that was not taken. There is no communication there that you can find in an open thing except the downloads in the 082 number. But even that downloads, my lord, that links accused number 5 does not is not happening on the day of the incident. In other words, the other one happened on the 2nd of August, the other one is the 15th of October. That is now prior to the commission of this offense. The relevance of me mentioning this thing is that seeing that there were these numbers that were in a possession and active, it is a possibility possibility that this assertion that there was this communication was lying in those numbers that were not known to the police at the time. By the time we came to know about them, the window period to get the communication of 3 years had lapsed, and we could not get a device to actually do the downloading. So that is the relevance of mentioning these numbers. Furthermore, my lord, what is important or prudent to mention is that this transpired during the collaboration process. As I said, statements are made, confessions needed to be collaborated. So this assertion that it is alleged that there was this communication between accused 3 and Ms. Kelukumalo was missing in terms of the date, because it's being said that it was happening on the day of the offense. So it was, something that one needed to know. But how could it be? Because we do have the cell phone records of Ms. Kelukumalo, the 2 cell phones, and that seems not to be there. And that is how now the cell phone expert Kenneth Stein was able to establish and link these phone numbers, that these numbers belongs to her, they were active and they were not disclosed to the police at the time.
Now, Kenneth Stein deposed to Exhibit 01 and 02, which at the moment I don't have them in front of me. But amongst other things, he listed about 8 numbers, including landlines, that Kelukumalo used at the time, and as to each number, when she started using the number and when the period of using that number ended. The question then becomes, of these 4 numbers, did you determine if Kelukumalo was using 6 cell phones on the night in question? That is, these 4 numbers, the 082 number and the 2498 number. Was she using 6 cell numbers on the 26th of October 2014?
Yes, that's the understanding I got, my lord. So one will recall that what she disclosed to the police, it's the runaway phone, the phone that was never recovered, and the phone that was downloaded, where the linkage with the alleged phone of accused 5 was picked up. So that was disclosed, it's in the docket, the numbers are listed. These 4 that I'm referring to, it's what the analyst found, that they were active, but they were not made available to the police. Hence, there's no section 205s that were done at the time, and there was no downloading done on those numbers. And I'm saying this, my lord, also perhaps to put it in the right context, is that at the time when I made this application for the arrest of Ms. Ramosepele, that in other statements the numbers are more, because it was an ongoing investigation. Particularly, my lord, I'm saying this investigation towards Ms. Kelukumalo, because one will remember I've indicated that before the 5 accused were processed and brought before court, there was a desire, based on the information that we had, to add Ms. Kelukumalo, but it was clear during our discussion with our colleagues that more investigation needed to be done. Now, it then takes us to the statement of November that Mr. Ramosepele refers to, and then subsequent to that, obviously engaging with the NPA, there was also a desire that we need to collect more. Hence, you'll see the numbers increasing and all other things that came up that we even didn't discuss and that we did not even cover in this court, because it's not relevant at this stage, my lord.
When did the police, the investigative team, discover these 4 numbers?
It will be prior to me making that statement, my lord. I will have to go through the docket to establish, but they were discovered by Kenneth Stein, as I said. So it was after the confessions were made, because it is after the confessions were made where it was now becoming, or this assertion was made, that Ms. Kelukumalo, it's alleged that he gave the instructions and there was a communication. So the desire to establish or to find that communication started there, and it would have been around that period where Kenneth Stein then discovered these numbers in trying to collaborate obviously what was contained in the statement, and that statement would have been made after that.
Because Brigadier, my understanding from the evidence of Kenneth Stein, and to some extent your evidence, is that your team did not go about and do new Section 205s for the people that were in the house. That Section 205 was obtained by the previous investigative team, and when you got on board, it's then that Kenneth Stein worked per your instructions on the Section 205s of the people that were in the house.
That is correct, my lord. As I've said, my lord, the Section 205s that were made for the people who were inside the house were made by Captain Bomstra.
Yes. But the point that I'm trying to raise is the following. These numbers, in terms of the Section 205s, even if Kenneth Stein discovered in 2020 that there were these numbers could have been available to the previous investigative team from the Section 205s of 2014 that were requested by Colonel or Warrant Officer Bostra. I don't know his position.
No, not exactly, my lord. So the investigating officers at that time, they did Section 205 based on the numbers that were given to them, that were contained in the statement. These 4 numbers were not disclosed to them, so they did not know they exist.
And now let's go to this one. In investigations further revealed that she is linked to the actual perpetrators of the murder by means of cell phone linkages. These linkages connect her to accused 3 and accused 5. What do you mean by cell phone linkages?
Well, my lord, I'm referring to, accused 5, for example. I think we've dealt with the 2 calls. Advocate Minister does not mind, then I will go into it, because there are certain things that we found that links Ms. Khumalo, but for the purpose of this court, we didn't bring it up because it's not relevant. Yes. So that is the link that I'm talking about. So if I'm asked to go deep, but unfortunately it will have a bearing on Advocate Ministers.
No, I don't want us to go to, I'm just reading the statement as is, and I was asking, by cell phone link, what do you mean? Is it media that is contained in the phone? Is it calls? Is it text? But I've got my answer. I don't want you to go to another advocate's evidence.
I don't understand. Wait. I don't understand. You're asking me a question. You're obliged to answer the question pertaining to your investigation.
Yes, ma'am.
As you conducted it, so that the court can appreciate too. You can't tell me that you disclose this piece of evidence, but you won't disclose this piece of evidence. What should I do about the rest of your evidence then?
Understood, my lord. My lord, so the other aspect that I didn't touch on is that there is the report that I got, and it's contained in one of Colonel Stein's statements. There is a link between, let me say, communication between Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused 3. In a nutshell, I just don't know how Colonel Stein phrased it, but he established a link between accused 3 and Kelly Khumalo, other than accused 5.
Now let's go to.
Is it please the court, my lord?
Yeah.
This is not an objection, it's just a clarification. So the information that I need to understand and follow it. So what Brigadier Gininda is saying, the further information that is not disclosed to the court as per the court's concern is that the statement of Stein actually says that there was a link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. That's the information that it did not disclose to court, according to him. I just want to follow that statement.
Are you able to explain, sir?
Yes, my lord. What I can explain is that the statement that I saw, and if it needs be, we can get to it and I can read it verbatim. There is the statement of Colonel Stein links accused 3 with Ms. Kelly Khumalo. That's the essence of it. As to how we put his terms, that's the part that I don't want to misquote him. But what is clear is that there's a link with Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused 3.
Yeah, but what is of concern to this court was that statement discovered?
Yes, my lord. This was the statement
to the defense also.
Yes, it's a statement that was attached in the docket.
Wait. Let's understand each other. Take it slow. Because if you haven't discovered that information, you can't use it now. But the law allows you, if you have discovered all the information you are testifying about,
yes, my lord,
and you are able to say it was discovered, this is the information. But if you're not able to say that, I can't take that information. Are you with me?
I'm with you, my lord. What I know, my lord, the state statement was signed, attached in the docket, and it was disclosed. Whatever that is in the docket, in the section, was disclosed to the defense. So it's not something that we kept away. It's in the docket, and it was disclosed, man.
Now, Brigadier, let's go to the specific linkage that you talked about even in your evidence in chief, which is the transparent plastic with money in it, which you said from the downloads of accused number 3, the downloads of Longwetwala, and the downloads of Kelly Khumalo, that photo is a common denominator. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
As a lead investigator in this case, did you present and confront Kelly Khumalo about that photo and seek an explanation from her?
No, I did not, my lord. Remember the quote I've said, my lord, she was a person that we were intending to charge together with this accused. So the time when I would have approached her and obviously put these assertions would have been when I went to take a warning statement and process accordingly. There was enough, in my view, based on what we had, to apply for the warrant of arrest. And obviously, as a process, that's a normal process. Before a person appears, we'd have sat down with that person, interviewed that person, and these assertions would have been put, my lord. So at that stage, I didn't, but it was evidence that was important for me to mention in pursuance of the J50, in other words, the authorization from the NPA to be granted. But furthermore, my lord, one will also recall that I've indicated that it was a prosecutorial driven investigation. So we're discussing, with the state advocate to say, can we approach the timing? So those things, you don't do it in isolation. So there was no blessing to say, go ahead and interview her on these aspects.
Did you determine from either cell phone records or from the experts within this field that were assisting the police, the investigation, the source of this photograph with depicting bag of money, a transparent bag of money?
No, my lord. I don't want to misquote them, my lord, but no, I don't recall that, my lord.
And the link of that photograph, did you determine who shared with whom amongst the three? Did they share amongst the three, or the source of origin from the individual phone, Longwe Twala, accused number 3, Kelly Khumalo, as to the source of that photo?
My lord, I think in the statement is contained. So that is a terrain which is an expect evidence, and I don't want, but I think the Colonel Stein explains whether it was shared or taken by, so I didn't focus, I'm not an expert, my lord, so I don't want, and I didn't even cover it on my statement because I think that's the area that I don't have the expertise, except to say, I was convinced that these photos appear because I was shown the downloads, but all those technicalities, I don't have the expertise, my lord, except to say I know it was there in those 3 downloads.
Yeah, sorry, but for my own understanding, these are photos of 3 individual different persons.
Correct, my lord.
They don't stay together in the same house.
Absolutely correct.
Are they friends?
No, I didn't find.
Are they acquaintances?
I didn't find such.
Is there a relationship between the 3 of them? Like, for instance, Zandile told us his boyfriend, sorry to use that language, is Longwe, for instance. Are you with me?
I'm with you, my lord. In my investigation, I didn't find such a relationship, and that is why in the very same statement Ramosepele is referring me to, I do indicate somewhere that for me it was concerning as to why Ms. Kelly Khumalo in particular will be talking to the hitmen or the people alleged to have killed her boyfriend, because I could not establish any relationship that will justify the communication. Yes.
Did you confront Longwe Twala about this photo, show it to him, and seek an explanation from him regarding the presence of this photo in his phone, in his phone's memory?
No, so sorry to speak over you, Mr. Ramosepele. No, I did not. Same reasons, my lord, that concern me, because you find there are people who are alleged to be the perpetrators of this offense, and in their device you find a common denominator, which is now found in Longwe Twala. Now, it changes the view, and one needed to obviously tread carefully and be guided by prosecution as to when do we approach him. So we didn't approach him, but it was based on serious concerns that we had about this common denominator that is found in accused 3's phones, and mysteriously then it appears in the phones of Mr. Longwe Twala and Kelly Khumalo. So in essence, my lord, one of the reasons that made us not to approach him, it was serious concerns which may be similar to the ones that were motivating the non-approach to Ms. Kelly Khumalo with regard to Mr. Longwe Twala.
And accused number 3 is arrested on this matter. Measurements are taken from him. Scars are checked to determine whether he had scars from this. Did you also confront him about this picture of a plastic bag with money and seek an explanation from him regarding that?
I know, my lord, I confronted him with the allegation containing to this matter in totality, and he responded, but the response was not...
No, so sorry, Brigadier, to cut you. I'm speaking specifically about the plastic bag with money, not the totality of the evidence. That's way out of the specific confine of my question.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to answer, my lord. So the bag of money is in relation to this matter. It's not a standalone matter. So when you interview a person, it's a collective. You put the allegation. So in the warning statement that I took from him was a warning statement regarding this allegation, and there were obvious responses that he gave me, but we didn't deal with the warning statements during the trial, within trial. I'm not sure now whether I should go to what is.
No, I didn't ask you about that.
Oh, okay.